Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Thank you so much for joining me. On the table in front of us today, we have got a $20 knife, and a really good one. This is the Sitivien ST-112 in D2. And I really like this little knife. So Sativians have sort of burst onto the scene. Right now, as far as I'm concerned, they are the best bang for your buck in the knife world, particularly if you are an Amazon, that kind of a shopper. I haven't had a bad one yet. Now, I did have one recently that I reviewed that wasn't my favorite just because of the shape of the thing, but the fit and finish was just as good as everything else that I've gotten my hands on. The ST-112 here is a smaller knife for them, and yet still comfortable, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at what you get. All right. First, it is running on bearings. It is micarta. It is a liner lock that is locked up very early. We're at about 25%. And yet, very nice and stiff, right? Doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere on you. The liners are just a little proud of the scales. So they are crowned beautifully, right? Everything is knocked down and smoothed out. It's the only sharp thing on this knife is right where you want it to be, which is the blade, and it is very sharp. It's got a G10 backspacer. It's got a spot for a lanyard. It's got a really nice stamped steel deep carry clip, as most of them do. It has a one-sided pivot. Now, I haven't taken one of these apart. I don't know if it's a D-shaped pivot or not. But the pivot itself is actually fairly attractive. It's got this nice orange, I'm guessing aluminum pivot collar around it on both sides. Blade shape, fantastic. Look at that. Right? It is a flipper, and it is a good flipper. It's just an attractive knife. Now, it is a little small for what I usually carry. As you can see here, we're coming in at about 7.5 inches. But because of the relatively neutral shape, I can get all 4 fingers into that space comfortably. And that is because it is 3.5 inches, right? Would I like a little more room at this end? Yeah, but it's still comfortable for me. So most people are going to have no problem at all getting a hold of this. And it's lean. It's a small, fast, comfortable cutter. I really like it. There is one thing, before we get any further, I do want to point out. On this side, you can absolutely see the micarta. This side, it's darker. And yet I can't complain because it's $20. Blade length on this guy is, cutting edge is right at 3 inches. You're at about 3 1/8 for the overall blade length. As I said, the overall knife is 7.5 inches. Closed profile, it's pretty smooth too. Like, it's a light blade, but a little bit of wiggle, and it drops right down for you. Closed profile is pretty good. We take the flipper into account. We're looking at 1.25 inches. Without the flipper, it would be just about a dead even inch, right? This is a really nice, compact knife. Closed length is 4.5. Yep. I really like Sativian stuff. Do I still love Ganzos? I do. I admit it. As someone who, 4 years ago was still buying all my knives off Amazon or from places like Big Five or other sporting goods stores, Ganzo is evidence of what you can do for not a lot of money if you're interested. And Sativian has come along and is clearly building upon that model because their knives are interesting, they are well made, they are exceptionally budget friendly. Again, this is $19.99 right now on Amazon. They come in a bunch of different colors. This is really good stuff for the money. It's good stuff, period. It's particularly good stuff for the money. Let's do some size comparisons. Here it is against the Presidio 2, the Mini Presidio 2. And these knives are very, we line it up right there on that line, very similar in size. Of course, this is $130 and this is 20. So, you rolls your dice, you take your chances. If you like D2, this is an excellent choice. Micarta, come on. Here it is against the full-size Presidio 2. I mean, you guys know how that's going to go. Right. The ST-112 is not a big knife. It just isn't. But it's interesting. It is. And it's well made. The liners are milled out fairly aggressively, too, on both sides. Even on the lock side here, there's milling down towards the tail end of the knife. You might be able to see that a little bit right there, but somehow I doubt it. You can actually see the hairs a little bit on this micarta. Now, they do make a G10 version of this, I think. Anyway, you'll have to poke around and see. The liners are milled. They are very shiny, but as I said, all the hard edges are knocked off. Christmas is coming. And if you know somebody who wants a pocket knife, but they don't want to spend even as much as 30 or 40 bucks, and you're looking to get them, or they don't want you to spend that much, you're looking to get them something nice that's going to survive, it's got a good cutting edge on it, and manages to be fairly attractive. And if their hands are not enormous, I mean, it's not a big knife, but it's big enough. The ST-112 here is an excellent offering from Sativian. It really is. Yeah, I know, this is kind of a short review, but what can I tell you? It's a good knife for not a lot of money. Let's go ahead and weigh it out, just because that's something we do here. Man, that's really nice. All right. Yeah, we're coming in at 3 ounces, 3.1 ounces. That is a lightweight knife. For D2 and micarta on steel liners, 3.1 ounces. Considering it is a full 3, a little over, what, 3 1/16 of cutting. That's right there at that ounce per inch. With its size, the weight, the action, and the materials, this is an excellent EDC option. It starts with a reasonably thin slice of D2. Let's take a look at how much that is before we let you go. We're looking at just over 3 millimeters. And that's good because it is a very short blade. Right? We're not quite an inch at the tallest. And it does have some flat here. So it's not a razor blade. I mean, it's sharp, but it's not, you know, it's a reasonably thick stock for how short the blade is. But that just means it's going to be very durable. The tip is pointy without being fragile. But I will tell you, if you wanted to give somebody a poke, you know, if you happen to get into an argument at a gas station, for instance, the ST-112 would serve you pretty well. But most importantly, all joking aside, this is an excellent EDC option for 20 bucks. And in a world of, you know, $280 knives and, you know, $130 knives, dropping 20 bucks on a knife that's going to serve you or whoever you get it for exceptionally well, it's a pretty good deal. And that's where we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching. This has been the Sativian ST-112. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.